Hello everyone, welcome to the final video of the series of challenging premiums. This is number one, and for those people who are hoping for, or expecting, not hoping, but expecting the Tier 5 Russian cruiser, the Krasny Krim, to be number one, I hate to disappoint you. The Krasny Krim is not fun to play, it is not spectacular, it is not something I recommend, but I get very good results in it. So I wouldn't put it as the challenging premium. It's just, it's just an uninspiring premium. And that's a different video list. So here we have the number one challenging premium for me is the Leningrad. And the Leningrad just feels wrong. So let's start out. So I accidentally got the Tier 6 Pan-Asian destroyer, the Anshan. Didn't lost the first 6 battles off the cuff. But then since have learned how to use it. So I actually have a fairly good win rate in the Anshan. It is one of my, used to be, I've got a lot more now. It used to be one of my go-to ships if I needed a certain number of torpedo hits, or if I needed some good wins. The Anshan is actually for me, a very capable ship. And I've got the Low Yang, so the Anshan at Tier 6 and the Low Yang at Tier 8, which is also a phenomenally enjoyable ship. So the Low Yang is, now both of these were, they're destroyers, they're Pan-Asians. The Anshan in particular is basically the Gnevny, so it's basically a Russian hull, essentially with longer range torpedoes. Now the Low Yang is basically the Benson, but the Anshan, it's a Russian destroyer with slightly longer range torpedoes and smoke. Seemed like a sure deal. So for me, when the Lenin came up, it was an event, and I did have to buy a couple of tokens to just make it over the line. I thought, that's a slam dunk. What could go wrong? Well, the guns just don't feel strong in Russian. When I go look at the numbers are there, but it just doesn't feel strong and Russian. The Anshan does feel like a good gunboat. Obviously the Low Yang, with its missing turret, is a slightly watered down Benson, but hey, go figure. So the guns just aren't there, and the torpedoes, well, although they're longer range torpedoes, they're not phenomenal torpedoes, and without the guns, like the Anshan, you rely on the guns, and the torpedoes are just basically the cream on the crop. With Leningrad, if the guns are no good, then really the torpedoes they're okay, right? So they're not terrible Russian torpedoes like in the Gnevny or the Minsk, but they are not really great torpedoes. So if that's all you've got, then it's not fantastic. And with the guns being what they are, it just doesn't feel right. And I've been reflecting on it, trying to understand why the Anshan would do so well, and the Gnevny, and the Low Yang would do so well, and Leningrad would be such a challenge. And I think the other part of it is that the agility of the Leningrad isn't the same as those other two boats, and most importantly, neither is the concealment. Now, what that means is that with the lack of agility and the lack of concealment, the Leningrad, I often find, ends up in the role of being the hunted, whereas with the Anshan or the Low Yang, they can often end up in the role of the hunter. They can get very close, they can launch those little torpedo spreads, they've got good smoke for disengagement, they've got great agility and great acceleration. So these are good little ships, and the Leningrad just misses out on a lot of that equation. So although I thought it was the missing link between the Tier 6 and the Tier 8 of the Pan-Asian style that I liked, it's not. It's something else, and I haven't acclimatized to that particularly well. So for me, it makes Leningrad probably one of the most challenging ships for me to play, because I just don't know what I'm doing with it. I'm sure there are people out there who love the Leningrad, and I suppose that's been one of the revealing things around this list. The Tirpitz, it's number 4. the Okhotnik at number 5. You know, they have people who really enjoy those ships. The Marblehead, well, no, not many people say good things about the Marblehead, but I've even heard people who really enjoy the Exeter. The Leningrad, probably of all of them, is actually the most capable, and this is the most personal failure, if that makes sense. So these are my most challenging ships. It doesn't mean the Leningrad is really shocking. It just means that my capability of using it is underwhelming and not up to the task. So really, for me, this is the most challenging premium. Ask around if you're thinking about getting the Leningrad. Ask around for someone who plays Leningrad to see how they feel about it. But that comes to the end of this list, and I will, if we get good results, or if we get a lot of engagement, I'll come back with other top 5 lists, one ship at a time, in my usual style. Hope you enjoyed watching and following this list. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time for something different.